Action.
Okay, we call this Around the Movie Block with The Rock, our movie review with our movie critic. He is Rocco Pasafume.
Thank you very much, Howie. The movie I have for you for this final week of 2019 is Uncut Gems. It is directed by Josh and Benny Safdie, and it stars Adam Sandler. It takes place in New York City and deals with the charismatic jeweler Harold Ratner, played by Sandler, who makes a series of high-stakes bets that lead to a high-wire act balancing business, family, and encroaching adversaries on all sides in the relentless pursuit of the ultimate win. The history with Adam Sandler is very fascinating. He's one of Hollywood's most popular stars of the last, I would say, 25 years at least. You know, he's been in big movies like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and The Wedding Singer, and he had a hot run in the 90s. I mean, he's always been very, very popular, but his movies in terms of their quality kind of plateaued over the last, I would say, at least maybe 15 years or so. And I feel like what makes this movie so refreshing is how, you know, this is like the perfect movie for him. He plays a character that we're all very familiar with all of Adam Sandler's movies, like the overgrown man-child frat boy character, and he plays this very well in this. But there's a lot more depth to this than we normally see from his movies, and I think a lot of that is attributed to the Safdies. The Safdies have made small movies the last couple of years, but this is like their first movie with a major star. And what makes this so great is that the filmmaking of the Safdies is very inventive in this movie. The fact that it's so tense, and not even just it's tense, but you have Sandler's, trademark comedy style working, in complete synchronicity with one another, which you normally don't see in these types of, thriller movies where everything is so tense, and you have these funny moments, and sometimes you're laughing and you're kind of terrified all in one breath, and that really, not only is a great experience entertainment-wise, but it also really shows the real depth of Sandler as an actor. We don't normally think of Adam Sandler as a great actor. We think of him more as just somebody who's really funny. But the fact that he is not only really funny in this movie, but really has great depth in this movie is a real testament to this movie's abilities. And I really feel that, especially now that we have many people angling to be like, Martin Scorsese's successors, I really do feel that the Safdies are potentially the potential successors to Martin Scorsese. We've seen this earlier in the year with Joker. That became like a really huge hit. But I think by comparison, I feel like the Safdies really have a better sense of taking that kind of great gritty style of, living in this world where, people are engaged in behavior that's not the norm, but in a way where you feel like you really identify with what the character's going through. And it really is a testament to Sandler, the fact that Sandler is this very lovable, kind of amiable guy, and yet the character is like such a kind of degenerative person, and it really tests your ability to really, like this character. And a lot of that is due to Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is so likable that he makes this character of Harold Ratner, somebody that you can really identify with over the course of the movie. You really identify with this character, and it's not easy to do with this character normally. I think if it wasn't for Adam Sandler, I think this would have been a harder movie to really, stay with through the course of this. I mean, not only is it very entertaining, but like you said, you have a character that has a great sense of, like, you really feel for this character, and a lot of it is like I said, due to Adam Sandler and his abilities as a comedian. So I definitely feel like it's definitely one of the biggest surprises of the year. I feel like it has like a great sense of, like this kind of high wire act that you see in this, type of story where you feel like you don't know what's going to happen with this character, but because it's Sandler, you're rooting for him. And I think that's a great testament to what makes this movie so great. And I really do feel like the Safdies definitely have potential to really make compelling stories of this kind of nature in a way that really fits our time perfectly. I mean, we've seen movies that try to fit, the contemporary times of the, 2010s and now the 2020s, but they really haven't captured that kind of, essence in a very entertaining, in a very human way, the way the Safdies, I feel, have done. So they really have potential to really be the future of, movies, I feel, and even television perhaps, down the road if they want to do series. So I definitely feel that this was definitely a great surprise of a movie, and I really do feel that there's so much to, not just great entertainment value, but great human pathos to the story that I feel like a lot of people will really, really enjoy it. Both people that are fans of Adam Sandler and people that just enjoy great movies. As somebody who saw this movie with me, Howie, is there anything to add that I haven't already touched on?
Yeah, I think one thing is that Kevin Garnett, who was a Hall of Fame basketball player, had a huge role in the movie and made his acting debut. I thought he was fantastic. Considering he never had an acting role before, and it wasn't just a cameo, he had several, he had a really big part. I thought he was great. And then just for a little local flavor, Mike Francesa, who's had a 30-year run at WFAN, grew up right here in Long Beach, and he had a couple of quite very dynamic scenes as well, but I thought it was a very, very entertaining movie. I think Adam Sandler did a phenomenal job, and I know he's never been nominated for an Oscar, but
he's got potential.
He's got definitely some potential with this movie. The only thing I would say that cursing.
It's a little too much on the expletives.
If you're a person that's turned off by the F word and cursing, don't see this movie. But I thought it was a very entertaining movie, and I thought Adam Sandler did a phenomenal job playing a, let's face it, a degenerate gambler. But very, very entertaining movie, and kudos to Kevin Garnett, who did a phenomenal job. So it was a very entertaining movie, for sure.
Definitely. I would like to just say in closing, before I give my grade, is to Howie's point about the expletives. I normally don't like a lot of expletives in movies. I think it's a bit of a crutch, and it's just irritating as somebody who likes, appreciates good writing. But I think in terms of the story and how it played out, I think more often than not, I think it did serve the story. So I feel like it did pass that test for me of how unnecessary you can go with expletives. But I feel like most of the time it worked. Definitely in dealing with the neurotic nature of Adam Sandler's character, particularly, I forgave it for the most part. I mean, you're talking to somebody who gets really annoyed easily by explicit language in movies. So I feel like for the most part it passed that smell test for me, but I really do feel for the most part that it's definitely a very entertaining movie, and I think it's definitely a great dark horse of a movie that's worth seeing. And it's not an easy movie to see. It's an art house release, so you really have to find it. It's playing in Malvern right now, and I think it's definitely going to be worth the trek to go see it in a theater. So I give Uncut Gems 4 out of 5 stars. So thank you.
Okay, very, very good, Rocco. Thank you very much. Rocco Passafilmi, Uncut Gems.
Thank you.
Here's my final close of the year and the decade. I want to thank Kim and Pamela for their great hospitality at Cocoa Fit Club, and it was a pleasure meeting Kim's mom, and that was a really riveting segment. I also want to thank Tangia, who, such an inspirational story, lost 57 pounds, and we heard some of the segments were riveting today. Harvey Wiesenberg, 86-year-old icon here in Long Beach, really touching as well. And Joe Satriano talked about, he's now raised over $1 million for the Susan Satriano Foundation. Mayor Minch did a great job talking about the Carnival Cruise mishap. Mayor really covered it like I knew he would. And Rocco Passafumi did a great job talking about Uncut Gems. And my final word to all our fans out there is please enjoy a happy and healthy new year. The best peace and prosperity to you and your lovely families. We hope you had the most wonderful Hanukkah and Christmas, and now we want to wish you nothing but the best new year as we welcome in 2020. And with that, I wrap with this. My name is Halftime. I want to thank you for your time. Please join us next Sunday for the show of Halftime. But at this time, we are out of time. See you next